My name's Holly Hendry. I make sculpture and installation art, and I'm an artist. I am based in London usually, and the sculptures I make usually respond to architecture or spaces, and in that sense they're usually quite large scale. I use a lot of quite hands-on materials and methods such as alternative forms of casting and mould making. We started talking and thinking about the show in 2019, so things have shifted and morphed quite a lot since then in the world as well as in the Delaware and in my ideas. We started speaking about the position of the building and the idea of this space on the edge of the land, on the edge of a country. And so a lot of the show and the works within the show and the work outside have come from these ideas of edges and borders and kind of bypassing or infiltrating borders. The work outside is called Invertebrate. It perhaps looks like a large worm or intestine type thing. It's made from a mixture of materials that are really influenced by its surroundings. So sandbags used as flood defences, but also as aggregate from the local brickworks. And the bricks similarly are from the local brickworks, and metalwork and cast elements too that kind of conjoin together. The work is in 3 parts, but I hope that it extends throughout the building and beyond that, in that it kind of considers what's underneath or what's above as well. So the main part of the work is outside on the grass in front of the Delaware, but then it also travels through the building, up onto the balcony and onto the rooftop as well. Outside and inside are totally interrelated, and in that sense, it's the internal show is almost a kind of aftermath of the external sculpture's journey. I kind of have imagined the building being eaten, chewed up, spat out by this kind of monstrous form, and in that sense there's holes that kind of open up boundaries between internal and external. The works relate to each other and kind of one doesn't exist without the other in that sense. And when I was thinking and developing the work for outside, I was thinking very much about the building as a form of body, being inhabited and becoming porous and holy in that sense as well. I've spent quite a lot of time in Bexhill, and one of the places that I went to was the local brickworks, which is based on a fault line on the land. And so you see all these different colours of earth, and I was really interested in the way that the brickworks kind of functions as this kind of machine of extraction and creation as well, and the kind of problems and solutions that creates materially. And so a lot within the brickworks there's these kind of churning up of materials as well, and lots of piles of these aggregates of chalk and sand and materials that go into the bricks but are also from the local area. So the work outdoors and indoors, a lot of the works in the show are kind of contain similar materials, most from the brickwork, so sand and chalk and clay, and other aggregates that kind of become the body of the work in a way. So the floor of the gallery and the walls are coated in MDF, that similarly to the materials from the brickworks are this natural material of wood that has been chewed up, pressed and reconstituted into something that's kind of made into a logical form of building material. That acts as a kind of base or a skin or a shell within the show for other works to kind of happen upon. So a lot of works within the show reference the body or the figure, or digestion, consumption and kind of bodily actions. I guess for me, the digestion references in the kind of acts of digestion that happen with the building and the sculptures and the materials relate to kind of edges or the breakdown of edges and this idea of incorporation. Like when you chew up something, its outlines become part of you or change and morph, and that idea of undoing and redoing or reconstituting was very important in my thinking. Some of the works in the show look like kind of redundant machinery, things that have stopped working, and I was thinking a lot about not working, stopping as a kind of productive state as well, and that idea of kind of machinery or the human motor, that the human as machine, even though some of the works look like body parts, they also kind of have this mechanical element where it's half human, half machine in a way. A lot of the ideas behind the show kind of have this element of breakdown or build up or kind of clogging, and those materials that clog or that are kind of the remnants or the pooling at the bottom of things are often kind of like sand and sediment, and I've been thinking about these materials as something that are products of erosion, but also the material used to erode as well, like sand in that instance. And I think water plays quite a big part in the exhibition as well, even though it feels very dry. And for me, that mechanical element of like the works feeling like machines or broken machines kind of relates to water, because like one work's called Flooded Engine. It's like if water gets into that machine, it breaks. And I've been thinking about plumbing and civic plumbing and, you know, those other networks. So there's an element of kind of water in the drips of dripping, kind of drip becomes a kind of rhythm that's about time, that's about erasure, that's about erosion as well, or build up as well, like the build up a lime scale or things like that as well. So I think, yeah, water and even though it's very evident outside, it's quite important to this show, even though it feels quite dry in that sense. I think spending time around Bexhill and the rest of the coast, kind of wandering around, I've seen lots of things kind of uncover and then be recovered again, like the wreck of the Amsterdam on Belvehide Beach, and the big lumps of brick in the sea that you can see kind of create these waves and things. And I was thinking, at the same time I'd been researching hunger stones, these strange hydrological landmarks that are appearing in the Czech Republic that have inscriptions like, "If you see me, weep." So they warn future generations of drought to come. So I was thinking about these kind of untimely resurfacing of things as well, coming out of the water, revealing themselves from the sea, or retreating back into the sea. And so I was thinking about time as something quite slow, but also like this kind of lethargic anxiety that maybe is communicated through loops and broken loops that are happening. There's conveyor belts that have slackened. There's small rotations of things in the show, and so time is something kind of cyclical. There's things that relate to the seabed, and as well that's about a kind of loop of regurgitation that kind of implies us in bigger cycles, hydrological cycles, sea cycles, land, like in a bigger loop of things that maybe we don't always think about.